we've got tweets coming through, and some of them are supporting the races, and you can see quite overwhelmed by this event. Wow, that's a mother load of runners in the mother city. So that was the 21K, which I think they were talking about.
Ja, dit word natuurlik gewys na 16,000 mense. Ja, ons is eintlik op 28% van die vrouens in die volveld.
Paul Motofane, they're saying the Two Oceans Old Mutual Marathon, the most beautiful marathon he's ever seen, and he's never seen a half marathon with so many runners.
En ons gaan verwag dat Paul na die halfmarathon toe moet kom.
Well, that's nice. Well done on the super coverage, and pleased that you woke up early and haven't been disappointed.
The overview shots there of Cape Town, and back to the men's lead bunch for the 56 kilometer. Donovan, you can see a big squad there of the Nedbank athletes with some Bonitas athletes and the new Max Elite team. We saw Gertes there, Mbogeni and Gazozo, but in the picture here in the colours of Bedford View, Ludwig Mawabolo, the 2012 Comrades Marathon winner.
Ja, Ludwig is toegelaat om hierdie jaar te hardloop 2 oseane. Hy is nog bezig om sy saak uit te stel, maar hy is fantasties bezig om aan te sluit by die voorste groep. Maar wat ons wel sien, Kion, hier, is dat die groot groep het nou opgebreek in 'n kleiner groep voor met 'n paar van die sterk atlete. Helen, ek dink die wedloop gaan nou begin ontvou.
What I find quite interesting watching these runners, they must be approaching about the 20-kilometer mark, or 19, I think they possibly have passed. They seem to just be running in such a spaced-up group. If Donovan, you've run in these kind of races, wouldn't you run and try and sort of shelter yourself behind these athletes? They're not running very intelligently.
Ja, Helen, ek sal ook so sê, ek sou geskuil het agter hierdie groot groep en niks van die werk teen die wind gedoen het nie. Maar dit lyk nie of hierdie manne reeds omgee hier hoor nie. Maar eerens moet iemand takties begin vorentoe beweeg. Daar gaan Dennis nou reeds vorentoe. Hy het ons marathonkampioenskap gewen.
Yeah, that's a very interesting debut runner that's just went through the front there. Coolboy Ngamole. He represented South Africa last year in the Olympic Games. He's got a 2:10 marathon best, making his debut today over 56 kilometers. And when you see guys with that type of speed coming here, it's a vital factor for the race. He could really do something today.
Ja, en ons sien Masibuko reg langs aan hom. En in hierdie groot soort ons sien vir Odwa daar, al die topmanne is hier. Hulle gee nie vir Timothy enige kans om weg te hardloop van vandag nie. Hierdie gaan 'n interessante wedloop wees, maar dit gaan neerkom op wie kan die vinnigste hardloop aan die einde. En ek kan definitief sê die groot klim gaan die manne uitsorteer.
Yes, most definitely. When they go up Chapman's Peak and down through the other side into Half Bay through the marathon mark, it's that long climb up Constantia Neck. Donovan, you've finished in the gold medals, and you know the pain of that hill. That's where the make or breaks come, and the strongest man to get to the top is normally the winner.
Ja, ek moet saamstem. En as jy oordeelkundig hardloop en as jy inhoud by 'n hardloop en ek is nog sterk om op Constantia Neck te klim, dan kan ek vir jou definitief sê dit gaan 'n groot verskil. Want daar's Bethuel is daar, Odwa is daar, Michael Masibuko is daar, so al die top Suid-Afrikaanse manne is in die voorpunt.
And it's nice to see Bethuel Netchifefe back in it, a veteran of over 40 years of age right now, but a former winner. And he's had a few injury problems, Helen, but it's nice to see him back in the elite group there.
Very much. And I think the challenge these runners will have today, that none of them will be aware of who's actually going to take it, because they all know that they're capable of it. But I think the nice thing about these runners, they've got a little bit more to go. They're going to make a right-hand turn, and for the first time in this race, they're going to be out of the wind. It's going to be a side wind, but at least it's not that head-on wind.
Ja, Helen, en ons kan sien, daar's 'n paar vorige wenners hier op George en Selisa ook. Hy het 'n paar 47 met 15 kilometers in Port Elizabeth gehardloop. So almal is hier by mekaar. Die groot vrees is dat hulle te stadig hardloop, en dan gaan dit neerkom op die vinnigste atlete aan die einde.
Yeah, Donovan, you can see that this pace is very, very slow. It's almost like no one wants to take the lead. It's almost like a track race where you see the guys jumping to the front, and this is a big bunch, and you can see that they are all on top of each other. So I think it's with this win today, it's becoming very tactical, and I don't think we're going to see such a very fast finishing time today, unless someone like Coolboy, Ngomole, Mbongeni, the guys with the speed, Tace, and those guys do make a break for it.
Ja, Mbongeni het verlede 2 weke gelede 29-22 gehardloop op die baan, en dit beteken dat hulle gaan 'n voordeel hê. Daar het ons Bruce Fordyce, een van ons groot legendes. Ek weet nie of dit sy hardloop is nie. 132 beteken dat Bruce hardloop nog gemaklik.
Well, he's having a bit of a slow day, I think, hey? But it'll be quite early on in the race. I think Bruce will only be at about the 15k mark. So
Bruce Fordyce, 9-time Comrades Marathon winner, big legend in his own right. But here we see the bunch. This is going through, they would have just passed 21 kilometers now, Donovan, and there's a group of around 40 athletes there. We are yet to still see Stephen Mujingi, the defending champion, running his new club colors of Toyota, but Timothy Kibet looks like he's chomping at the bit. He really wants to get things going here.
Ja, en as ons gaan regsdraai, al die jare wat ek ook self gehardloop, dit is 'n regsdraai, dan tel die pas verskriklik op dwars deur Fieshoek, en as dan begin die klim op die berg, wat mense natuurlik weet wie gaan die goue medalje wenners wees. Die groot gevaar hier, Kion, is met so 'n groot groep met die watertafels wat opkom, almal gaan nie water kry nie.
Yes, with a big bunch like this, it is going to get difficult getting your water, and it's, Helen, getting your water and your special needs, and that's very, very vital in a long distance race like the Two Oceans. You don't want to become dehydrated, and that can dampen your performance if you have to miss some of those drinks.
yeah, it'll be tough for these guys. It's a huge bunch for this far into the race. Usually it's thinned out a little bit, and I just think they are just sticking together because of the wind. And
ja, hulle gaan baie hard met hardloop, en as hulle onder enigstens 3:8 wil hardloop vandag, want as mens kyk na hulle halfmarathon tyd, wat hulle deurgaan omtrent 1 uur en 13, hulle gaan seker rondom 2 ure 20 hardloop, wat baie stadig is.
A lot of Toyota athletes in that main bunch, together with Nedbank, Bonitas, and the Max Elite team. And you see Ludwig Mamabolo running in the colors of Bedford View. That's where he started his running career. And is it a case of going back to the roots and proving that last year's Comrades was not a fluke?
well, that 73 minutes through the 21, if you translate that, that's like a 2:26 marathon. That's very slow for the Two Oceans. So one thing, that record's not going to go today.
Ja, maar wat dit gaan op neerkom, Helen, is dat hy laaste 10 kilometer gaan seker baie naby aan 30 minute gehardloop word. En dit gaan neerkom op 56 kilometer wedloop, wat eintlik 'n 6 kilometer wedloop gaan word tussen hierdie atlete aan die einde.
We also saw at the back of the pack there, Donovan, SA 5,000 meter record holder of 13:15, if I'm not mistaken, Shadrach Hoff, making his presence felt in the ultra distance, and someone with bucket loads of speed who could make a presence here.
Ja, en as kyk na Steven Mokoka wat nou vanoggend die halfmarathon gewen het, Cedric het in sy opbou vir hierdie wedloop ook vir Steven en vir Jan van Devender oor 10 km gewen. So dit speel in sy hande, Kion.
Can we spot where the Tace is in that front bunch? Because he's a guy that runs with confidence. I mean, we've seen him in the Two Oceans. He wants to get out there. He's not afraid to run hard, which is great. But I think he is probably even taken a little bit more cautiously this year because of the wind. And
Yes,
is he tucked in there? Because he's got that 2:06 pedigree.
Yeah, Gert is the fastest man in the field to ever have run the Two Oceans Marathon. His SA record of 2:06:33 is still standing to this day from 1999. But if you look towards the middle of the screen, he is in that bunch there, in the colors of the Max Elite, the red and white vest. But Donovan, this is the first time in over 10 years that his wife has actually come to watch him run a race. He's brought his whole family down here, and could that mean something special perhaps?
Ja, en as ons kyk, Gert het verlede jaar 'n 50 km wêreldrekord gehardloop, hy het 'n veteranenrekord gehardloop. Hy's 'n legende in die land, 'n 206 marathonatleet, en hier op 41 hardloop hy saam met die beste in die wêreld. So daar's geen dan is vir my nie dat Cedric Hoff wat hier in die agterkant 'n Nedbank klere hardloop tussen hom en Gert Thuis, het hulle seker 4 Suid-Afrikaanse rekords.
lot of SA records there between Shadrach and Gert, and you can see on Shadrach's right-hand side, the Nedbank athlete on the right-hand side there, Bonguisa Mthembu, he was second in last year's Comrades Marathon, and it just shows that Comrades guys can mix it up with the Two Oceans athletes here, but very, very big bunch here, and things are really hotting up.
Well, as we've said, Two Oceans is a race for all people, and we're going to have a conversation with Gloria Muka, a domestic worker who's taking part in the event this year.
Humata ho fetotse bophelo ba Glorious Moka ya neng a nonne ho a neng a se a le kotsing ya ho kula jwale ke moatlete ya phetseng hantle ya hlwahlwa ho ne ho se bobebe fela he o mamelletse
nka nona thata hela mo ibileng ke nagana gore mokwatla wa ka o robegile, and then ka ya go attenda ngaka ya re no, you know what, you've got lot of meat and lot of fat, so you must do something about your body. And then I tell my husband, so that you know what, something terrible happened to me. The doctor say I must start running or doing some exercise. And then my husband helped me because he was a soccer player. He used to run, but not so much. He ran often. And then when he started teaching me to run, we just go for 3 pole of electricity outside there, that's the one with the lights, and then we come back. But when we come back, I have to stand and sit there and say, wait first, no water, no nothing, no talking, please, I want to relax. And then I remember one day I ran for a month, and then I get sick. So I was scared to go back to the doctor, because the doctor told me that, you know what, it's only that big body of you that makes you get sick. And then and then suddenly I started going alone. When my husband is sleeping, I just get up, and then he will see me when I come back. I think it was 2006 when I started running, and then it was on 11 June. I remember that day because the day it was too painful for me, but I wanted to. So I started running and then starting eating good. So I started measuring my food so that I must eat at least a little. And then before I eat, I drink the water. I drink water, then my stomach gets quickly full. And then I just started knowing about Comrades. I get scared for these big kilometers and said, yo, 1 kilometer is so tough. What about 5, 10, 11? But I started running with 10 Ks. 10 Ks twice. And then I said, no, let me go to 21. And then 21, I ran it once. And then I started getting addicted for ultra and marathon and Comrades. So I started running like that. And then I see just my body gets small. The big clothes of me, I take it away now and say, yeah, so but when and then the time they see my body gets thin, they say, wow, you was not playing, you were serious. And then my twin sister see that I was running, then she come, then we started running together.
Me
and my twin sister, we born with asthma, but she gets healed suddenly when we were young. So it gave me a problem when I started running. And then 2010, I attended Soweto Marathon again, and then Karobala ko Soweto. The morning ko ne ke na le accommodation thing kara and penny feel ke feeling ka fela ke sna go taboga, and then I didn't feel anything. I say, wow, I can't even breathe heartfully. Asthma. So since that time, the asthma is gone by running.
How ka bona di medal tsa Glorious ya sengana le lemo tse supileng amata o ka tsota.
The medal tsa ka tsa ko Comrades 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012 ke emetse ya ngwagao.
Glorious o motlotlo ka medale tsa hae. Medale o mong le o mong o phethapane. Medale tsena ke mmapa o bontshang leeto la hae la lemo tse supileng tsa ho imatlafatsa le nkileng makgolokgolo a dikilomitara. O na le tseo a di hapileng provinseng ya habo ya North West, mme di dikanyeditswe ke tse tummeng tsa bo City to City, Soweto Marathon, Two Oceans le Pride of Place. Seatla se tletse dimedale. Tsela eo Glorious a alang medale tsa hae ka yona ke tsela eo a ralang bophelo ba hae ka teng.
She schedules her timing like very well. So in the morning she would go for her run, and then in the afternoon when she's done, she'd go for a run. Even sometimes she'd go during lunchtime, you know, that hour that she would have, and she would just go for a run. So she's very committed to her health, and she's very committed to the passion for running.
This year I was expecting at least 5 hours is better, not 6 hours like last year. Last year it was raining the whole road, and it was my first Two Ocean. So me and the rain, it's fine, I love it, but when I get wet, I stuck. That's the problem. And when I'm stucking, my leg doesn't want to move at all. Because I remember when I was crossing the second ocean, I was looking at that mountain, you know, and I say, this mountain is so beautiful. It looks like I can stay here because my leg doesn't want even to go. So I say, no, I have to push it. 56 is too far, but to me, it's not like Comrades. I say, let me go. And then I started getting cold because I was talking too much in myself. And then I get cold because the muscles get stuck, and then there's no heart coming inside me. And then I started pushing. The others come and say, sister, let's go. What's wrong? We know always you are in front of us. Come. And then I started, okay, is it you? No, let's go. And then we go until to the finish line. Then I finish in 6 hours.
O ile a ithuta ho arola nako ya hae. O entse nako bakeng sa ho matha le nako ya ho hlokomela lelapa la hae le santsaneng le hola.
Comrades is long. It gives you time to think. Anything that you have been planning from January, if you want to conclude it, just go Comrades. So se ke se ratang ka Comrades e botlhoko ha re fetsa e ka re ska thola re boa. And so se sengwe ka Comrades ke gore e go fa matla, e go dira gore o tshepe gore botshelo bo botelele bona le dikgwetlo. Se se teng o tshwantse go khotlhelle. Ha o khotlhella o tla kgona go fenya. Ha o sa khotlhelle ha o ka bo wa fenya.
Well, that's a very lovely, inspiring story, and it's when you hear those things that those of you sitting at home, you can certainly get out there and do that. And we're picking up these runners coming through Muizenberg, and they're actually guys that would possibly be going for silver, quite good times. So it's quite a big bunch of people at this point.
Ja, en dan 2 oseane silwer was alom bekend as seker die tuiste silwer en die moeilikste silwer om te kry is sub 4 ure, en hierdie mense is almal in lyn om dit te kry.
Well, back to the lead women in the race, and there we have last year's defending champion in the colours of Max Elite, Elena Nogalieva, who this year is back with her sister Olesia. Olesia took out last year to give to her little baby boy, but nice to see them back in the lead.
Yeah, and just behind her we saw NataliaVolgina, a regular at Two Oceans, but we didn't pick it up too well on the camera. But in front of these girls is the Zimbabwean Thabita Tsatsa, novice, 40 years old, running her first Two Oceans. Got a good pedigree, 2:29 marathon, and it'd be interesting to see what she can do. Have you spoken to her, Donovan?
Helen, wat ek wel kan sê is dat as mens kyk na die voorste groep van vroue-atlete, daar's 4 atlete, die 2 susters, Natalia en Thabita, wat almal onder 2:30 gehardloop het vir die Mthandazo Marathon, en dit maak 'n groot verskil in 2 oseane, dat hierdie dames omtrent 15 minute vinniger is as ons Suid-Afrikaanse vroue. Wat sê jy daaromtrent?
Yeah, Donovan, that's the thing when the twins and these foreign athletes go through the marathon mark in Two Oceans, they run around 2:39, 2:40, which would be a PB from by nearly 10 minutes for some of the South African ladies, and that is to detriment for them. They need to improve their speed over the shorter distances to run those world-class marathon times, and only once they do that will we start seeing the South African ladies coming here and winning the 56K.
Well, the shots we're seeing on the screen, I think, are pretty much the leading men. They've just gone through 25Ks, 126. they'll be approaching what is referred to the Sun Valley area, going up towards the halfway mark of 28 kilometers. But there seems to have been a little bit of a breakaway, and I don't know, Kieran, if you can spot exactly who they are?
Yeah, on the left-hand side of the screen in the red vest of Bluff Meets is the Kenyan Timothy Kibet. But Donovan, interesting athlete in the colors of Bonitas. He's finished second here before in the Two Oceans Marathon from PE Mzwanele Mapukula, and he hasn't been in the golds since finishing in that second position, and today he looks really relaxed next to Kibet.
Ja, Kieran, vir my is dit net hierdie wedloop was baie stadig gehardloop. So ons kan nie juist sê watter tipe kwaliteit atlete nou gaan deur die einde van deur die middel van die wedloop 'n bietjie harder hardloop, maar hy het die geskiedenis, hy het al tweede gekom. Timothy is 'n gesoute marathonatleet, en wat ons ook sien is dat die groot groep agter het 'n bietjie opgebreek. So die wedloop is nou baie vinniger, is 25 km verby. Dit's baie vinniger nou.
But you can almost see that Timothy just wants to really take this race out and lead it. They've got a gap of around 80 meters to the back, but Timothy last year was fifth in the Soweto Marathon. He won the Gauteng Marathon, so he's no stranger to South Africa. But the interesting statistic about him, he's run 2:13 in the Kilimanjaro Marathon, and if you can run 2:13 in Kilimanjaro, I think you are a really dangerous threat on Two Oceans.
Ja, Kieran, dit moet seker net so onder 3000 meter wees om daardie wedloop te hardloop. Hy's 'n kwaliteit atleet, en om hom alleen te begin die bergklim gaan beteken dat hierdie manne eers sal moet vinnig hardloop om hom te gaan vang.
Well, he's looking very, very relaxed and sort of comfortable to let the guy push ahead. It's still a long way, not even halfway yet, about 2 more kilometers, and they'll be passing through halfway. But it looks, at this stage, quite slow times, but I think we're in for a very, very quick second half with the wind pushing behind them.
Yeah, once the athletes go through the halfway mark, Donovan, and starts that long climb up Chapman's Peak, I think we might see a bit of a break in the bunch, and that's when you're going to see the likes of Stephen Mujingi, the defending champion, Colin Makaza, and the likes starting to pick the pace up.
Definitief, Kieran, en dit gaan omtrent tot op 32 kilometer gaan hulle klim, en dan gaan hulle afhardloop tot 'n houtby. Die groot verskil is hier, Kieran, as jy baie vinnig hardloop af in Chapman's Peak na houtby toe, dan betaal jy gewoonlik 'n groot prys aan die einde. Maar dit gaan definitief gebeur hier vandag, en die gesoute manne sal bietjie terughang.
Well, at this stage in the race, the pace that they were running, they went through the 21k mark. I think it was just over 112, which is fairly slow. We've seen the athletes go through in 107, 108 before. So the winning time at this stage looking around the 311s, 312s, which is a very slow time compared to the past.
Dit sal seker in die geskiedenis wees een van die stadigste tye, Kieran. En as mens kyk na die tye oor die afgelope paar jaar, Kieran, is daar 5 van hierdie atlete, internasionale atlete, teenoor 1 van ons Suid-Afrikaanse atlete wat onder 3:08 gehardloop het.
Well, yeah, we see the chasing bunch that are coming. This is from position 3 onwards, and you see the 3 Bonitas athletes in the front, from left to right. Mbongeni Ngazozo, Yahadens Kekana, the 2012 City City winner, and Peter Mutubi. But you have so many defending champions in here. We've got the likes of Stephen Mujingi, Motloko and Kabutlane, who finished second here 2 years ago. But with the green arm warmers, a very interesting debutant, as we explained earlier, Kuboy Ngamole.
Kuboy Ngamole, en wat ons nou sien, Kieran, is dat die standaard manne wat baie vinnig is oor halfmarathon en marathon, het nou weggebreek en hulle almal hardloop saam. Kekana, Mongeni Nazazo, en so ook gaan Kuboy nou by hulle aansluit. So die standaard ultramarathon atleet hardloop nou in die tweede groep, Kieran.
And that's where the most experience comes from. Helen, you've won 2 Oceans and Comrades before, and you know what it takes. Leading a race this early, the pressure that is on you is amazing.
Oh, it is. It's but you've got to be confident of your own ability when you're running these races, and you can only run what you can run. And I think that it's difficult to race a ultra sort of shoulder to shoulder the whole way. And I think you just know you go through good patches, bad patches. And we've seen it year after year. The guys that might go through halfway don't necessarily feature at the end. Always a lot of changes to come up.
Well, 1 hour 31 minutes into the 2013 Old Mutual Two Oceans Marathon, and Willie, you can see that bunch is now coming back to Kibet and Mapukula. It's almost like Kibet just wants someone to be there with them. They're slowing down again, and now you're going to see the main bunch coming through from the back.
Yeah, I think you and the guys, they're washing each other here. As you can see, that there is still a very big group behind there. And siyabona ukuthi liyansizwa la uKibet yena uyafisa ukuthi ngokwakhe ube kwakhe ngabe bagijima faster than that. And njengoba seke yasho letsizwa uKibet ukuthi isikhathi abangasicishe basigijima asizuba fast ngoba nje ubona umoya, you can see that the wind is blowing when you can see the trees, they moving. But I think they won't run a fast time, as you said, because of the windy, and they're also watching each other. But I think Kibet, he really wanted the guys to go, but the guys, they don't want to move.
Yes, if I was Timothy Kibet making his debut at an ultra marathon, I would rather stick in the bunch, let the experienced guys do the work, and when it comes to the get going, then make your presence felt.
But if you've been looking at that profile graphic that comes up, it's quite remarkable. It's a little bit exaggerated, but it's been up there. The first half is pretty flat, and then all of a sudden the hills arrive, and it's an entirely different environment, very much more challenging. Not only is it hilly, but it's also, you're getting tired. So you're in the second half of the race. And I remember looking back when I was with, there's that graphic again. You can just see the entire change that comes where they are now, virtually at halfway. But I remember I was watching Thompson Magawan. In those days we had tracker vehicles, and I was watching him, and he went through the halfway mark in under 130, but quite far under 130, and he was miles ahead, and he just kept going. So that was a different level. And when we talk about next year, we're going to be looking at a sub 303, so the guys are going to have to go through here in about, I don't know, 258, or 128 to get to halfway, and that will be 5 minutes quicker than these guys are going now.
Yes, and that's it's going to be a very, very exciting race next year with that 1 million rand incentive to break the 303. That's a record, of course, coming from Thompson Magawana all the way back in 1988. But we've had some world-class athletes coming here, the likes of Gatebe. He's got his 206, although it was back in 1999. But speaking to him yesterday, he really believes that he can still get the record.
Down at False Bay, the masses are going through. And this is the real spirit of the Two Oceans Marathon, with thousands and thousands of people. Record field, we'll be back with that record field right after this.
Yo.